This one is New Mutants 57 by Louise Simons and Bethany Belieber, and it is some more of the story of McNugget. This is a really good cover. When you start to properly look at it, at first it looks like nothing special, but when you focus on it and recognise the layout and the perspective at play, little details in the background, very nice cover. Shame that is focused on McNugget. This is when Mr. Magnet was headmaster of the Excellent Men's School. And while I really hate the piss-poor redemption story of Mr. Magnet, where Christopher Clairvoyant has him be the saviour of all and everything, I do, however, think that there is some mileage in positioning him as the headmaster or the mentor or the authority figure to the youngest generation of muties. It can be used to show how he totally differs in the role from Dr. X, and how inappropriate Mr. Magnet is as a mentor to impressionable young minds. McNugget is a weird bird creature that the team have adopted like a pet. It is an absolute rip-off of E.T. And funnily enough, it is very, very similar to another E.T. rip-off, the movie Mac and Me, down to the product placement with McDonald's. I have talked about it before. In fact, I have covered almost all of the McNugget saga now. All of the prologue to the Fall of the Muties story. Fun fact, the New Mutants 56 review was also the video where I retired the big question of the day. He is called McNugget because, well, I didn't have to explain it. People apparently ate Louise Simonson's run a lot more than they did 10 years ago. I don't know if they always hated it, or it's just typical Parrotin or die-hard Christopher Clairvoyant fans who want more stories about Mary Sue Moonchild becoming a space princess, or Magic Girl ganning back in time and stopping the Black Plague. I prefer this, a story about kids, which is what the book should have always been about. Not a second offering of the same Christopher Clairvoyant fetishes, but with younger characters. I have seen people complain about how young Wolf Girl and Cyber are shown in these issues, and I just shake my head. There is no point to a book called New Muties if they are just smaller adults. All Christopher Clairvoyant ever did with New Muties was write adults. Mary Sue Moonchild is meant to be, 13? And she's like a 25-year-old. The art by Bethany Belieber is very, very over-the-top and cartoony, and it works in some panels, and others it looks bad. Overall, I think this story plays to his strengths. We have a weird, lanky, chicken creature thing. And one of our less insane or comedic plots is Magmar is leaving the Excellent Men to go and study at Emma Frosty's school. Good choice. And here she is, Emma Frosty's. I like that Louise Simons begins the very slow process of establishing Emma Frosty's is more than the cackling femme fatale of Christopher Clairvoyant's comics. Her motives aren't do something evil. They are a bit foggier, and sometimes her motives are unknown to us and seemingly not evil. We get an issue soon that continues on with this Magmar strand. We cover her time at the new school while the new muties were off having their own adventures. I would be happy to look at that one if anyone below wants me to look at that one. The kids disguise McNugget to take him out for a walk around town. It is the classic comic book disguise of a Mac and a hat. I think one thing people complain about is misremembering this story as being far longer than it is. That was definitely the case with me. I felt like we had 6 issues of stuff like this. But even when I got this out to review, I still thought it was longer than it was. Really, we only have 2 issues of this. This one and the next one. The 2 before were their own thing. McNugget was involved with them. And then the 3 after are the Fall of the Mutie story, which while it does all have to do with McNugget, this wacky, silly, comedic stuff is not there. In the true spirit of the movie Mac and Me, they take McNugget to McDonald's. And McNugget cannot get enough of his fast food. He loves it. There isn't a dance number, so I will be marking the issue down for that. But it's all harmless. I didn't want all my videos about Louise Simonson's New Muties to be me saying it's automatically better than Christopher Clairvoyant. But it is. To me, it is so much better. And I am not saying that to declare people are wrong or anything. I want to engage in discussion about these comics. I want a Christopher Clairvoyant fan to reject my hypothesis like Quentin Tarantino does. And for me to be able to respond and offer my thinking. And then if they start raving about the Shadow King being behind all the plots and Sage being the first mutie and how editorial ruined all of his stories, at that point I will give up the chat and assume you are wrong and a moron. But yeah, the plot here really is McNugget is hooked on McDonald's. He always wants a McDonald's. One of the more interesting plot beats is that Mr. Magnet has total disdain for McNugget. He wants rid of him. And his hatred seems to come from the basic notion that McNugget is not a mutie. I love that. I think it is an accurate reading on Mr. Magnet. And if this was Christopher Clairvoyant writing, then he would be insisting that McNugget is a mutie because he is different. They become Simpsons characters for a page. And look at the cute romance that went nowhere because Cyber gets shot to death with guns in a few issues. That was my review plus recap, like it says on the thumbnails. And I like it, and I like it overall. I'm not liking it out of spite or on the basis of it not being Christopher Clairvoyant. I think this is better than anything he wrote on the title, and that is my opinion. I am broadcasting my opinion, as I always have, but that doesn't mean that I believe it to be the only opinion anyone should have. I am doing all this to try and avoid receiving a dozen thumbs downs on the video that all my One Slam and Christopher Clairvoyant get. I'll give it 7 thumbs upright.